We're talking about modern day MK Ultra. What does that mean? Stick around to find out, and answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
He said it was like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table. No, you said like there's something in your end table that you this too.
My God, you're crazy.
Yeah, he's saying hi, baby girl. He's saying hi, baby girl. And is there significance with like image of a rose at all?
He would
Does that
always
make sense?
give me a rose.
Okay, so he's like doing one now. He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine, somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some magnawave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
There's a reason why we're on this timeline. There's a reason why we've chosen to be in this awakening. I say we're going through a spiritual awakening.
So I don't just come on here and talk bull and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on the culture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everybody. How you all doing? Welcome aboard. How was your week, everybody? Got some interesting things happening this past week in the political sphere. I would have been a potential, I would say, or an attempt assassination on Trump. Biden has now officially stepped down. I'd be curious to see what's going on. I don't get too political on this channel, so I might throw a couple things here and there, but to avoid the political divides, I will not go so deeply into it. You can check us out on LOL. We'll get into it there, actually, when it comes to the political stuff. Let's see who's chatting on in the room here. We got Jennifer Cruz, of course, my maker. Good to see you, my mama. A wonderful mod, Nita, is in the room, so she will be guiding you through the process if you want to book a question here, book a reading. We'll get to that in a second. Christy Rozzi, good to see you. Brenda Zweck, hello. Eric, good to see you. Patricia Prince, hello. Rhonda, hello. Cat Reader, good to see you. AC, hi. Good to see you. Good night. Or good night, good day. How do you say good night to someone as far as saying hello instead of saying good night sounds like goodbye, but... good day to you. Cascading Catalyst, welcome aboard. Good to see you. Iris, hello. Blondie7, Sydney Aaron, my sister from another mister, hello. I know it's Thursday. Thank God it's Thursday already. Lisa Cruz, my sister, how you doing? Denise Land, hello from North Carolina. Well, hello from Palm Springs. Good to see you. Devin Elizabeth, hello. Iggy. Can't you see? We love you, Iggy. I just have to show you guys. I'm talking to Iggy right here. Hey, yo. I was doing that kind of Biggie Small song. Iggy, can't you see? Anyways, it's in my head. And we also have, who else is in here? Leisha Russell, hello, good to see you. Chelsea Adams, hello. James Porterfield, what's good, man? Good to see you. All the shifts going on right now. Yeah, we got the shifts. Definitely got the shifts today. Jessica Chloe Astrology, good to see you. Hello, Katie Johnson. Daryl Blankenship, buddy. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Crazy for Coconuts. Ali Boba, and we'll keep going on. And Kate, hello, good to see you from the Bay Area. And those who are watching, hello, I can't see you. I can only see who's chatting up in the box there. And those of you who are new, if you want to do a $50 for a card pull, $20 for one question, $30 for two questions, $40 for a live video with me here. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description, and of course, Nina will help you if you want to get a question going. Let's get started with the collective read. So, if those who are new, I do a collective read first. It's kind of for the week as well. Not the week as far as the not strong, the week as far as the days ahead. Because sometimes I say it's for the week. It's for those who are not so strong. No, it's for the week ahead. And then we get into the topic. Today's topic is modern day MK Ultra. So some of you might not know what MK Ultra is. A lot of you do. We'll get into my perspective on what's going on this modern day in regards to such. Benjamin Rumpel, welcome, and Clayton, hello. Good to see you. And we'll get into that topic too shortly. But first, let's start with the collective read. Let's get these cards are shuffling. All right, now I'm a psychic medium. I don't need cards, use tarot, but I use tarot in circumstances like this because it's beneficial in circumstances like this for collective purposes. This way, I can kind of get more guidance on like what to go, where to, there's so much places we can go, but we'll look for the week. Okay. I have a feeling too, like what's been happening lately, the past several lives, is that the collective read is kind of always kind of in sync with the topic that I pick. Now, I never, script anything. I kind of pick a topic and I just kind of ride from there. So I kind of just free ball everything, for lack of better terminology. And so I never know what the collective read is either. So a lot of times the collective read is very much in alignment to the topic. So we'll see if that's the case here. And there's also a reason probably why I picked that topic, this week as well. So it's still shuffling. Sarah, good to see you. That's right, Sarah. You got to remind me when I see the Benjamin Rampel. You have to remind me it's Sarah, because I see a name coming up on the chart. I did read it, but yes, I remember. And thank you, my wonderful mod Lena, for directing. These cards are rough. They're a little rough. They're a little dodgy here. Is that a sign too? Dodgy energy. Let's see. A couple more shuffles, and we'll get on to this. There's part of the live I wish I can fast forward, but. You gotta do what you gotta do. All right. I think they're ready. Kind of strenuous. All right. Yeah, it's funny because it's all about the mind. Let's pull some oracles here. Okay. Creation. These just kind of fell out here. We'll show them in a minute. Okay. So actually it is aligned with my topic. It always is. I think it's becoming more that way anyways. All right, as I'm trying to, things are just falling down around my desk here too, so things have been a little chaotic. So the thing we want to preserve right now is our minds. I mean, we need to be looking at right now what we're being influenced by when it comes to our mindset and our intellect. And so we do have a lot of chaos around, a lot of influences. And so we have to be very conscious of what we're engaging with, and that means on different levels of our reality. It also means on the levels of conversations that we're having with people around us, how we're engaging with the work that we're doing, the information that we're hearing, even like what you're paying attention to, what you're watching on television, or even what you're not watching, the movies that you're watching, the music that you're listening to. It's time to understand the things that you're gravitating to, the things that are attractive to you right now. What is seducing you right now? It's time to pay attention to this because. A lot of times when we're going through a self-change or self-reflective period, a lot of times we're more focusing on kind of the growth aspect that we're not realizing where we're also settling back in our lives. And a lot of times that settling back is our relaxation where we're not kind of processing. And that's where we're the most influenced. And right now, this week is a week where I think because the energy is so heavy, you need to be very clear on what's influencing you. Because right now we have a lot of, I would say, divisive energy in our world right now, and that's just kind of where we're at. We're in this kind of duality, and that's quite all right because there needs to be chaos in order for things to create some order. That's quite all right, but we have to understand during this shift and during this paradigm, where we're standing in our own personal lives and what is really influencing us. I said this last week too. If the news is bugging you out, turn it off. If you are anti-Biden and all you talk about is how you hate Biden, then you need to stop looking at that and stop watching it. If you're anti-Trump, then you should be if you're always talking about Trump and how you hate Trump, maybe you should talk about something else and stop letting that influence you so much. So it's time to understand what is really picking at you. Why is it picking at you too? You want to start identifying because you want to start putting a barrier on your mind in a sense and allowing yourself to protect your mind to say, I don't need this around me. It could be even gossip. It could be chatter from friends that just talk about negativity all the time or just talking about what everybody else is doing and not so much doing any type of positive affirmations for their own life or anyone around them. So it's like you should look at these circumstances. Are you just sitting around situations that it's not really a situation you want to be in, but you're just kind of phoning it in? That's not helpful for your mindset. Especially when you're in a vulnerable state, these things could contaminate your perspective greatly, or even contaminate your energy very greatly. And it takes a lot of strength. Like, now, I've been practicing this for decades. And so I'm at a position where I can be objective and those things don't necessarily affect me. So I can just objectively look at situations, see what's going on. But right now, you have to understand, especially when you're feeling this heaviness of this energy of this week, and you're feeling that, you might be feeling ill or having some sort of health issue, that it's easier just to latch onto something that's a quick fix. And right now, we cannot be in a state of quick fix. We can't. And, things can be very, very seductive in that sense. Oh, just take this pill, take this easy way out, and, and it can cause more damage for you. So now is a time, especially this week, to be very mindful of our minds and understand the things that are kind of drawing you in that shouldn't be drawing you in, and ask yourself, am I doing this willingly or am I doing this unconsciously? There's a lot of behaviors you guys are doing unconsciously. And so it is time for that self-reflection. And, the sovereignty card, comes up about really kind of harnessing and knowing your own power, right? And kind of knowing your own internal guidance and internal structure. Right? It's very simple. And it is as simple as, you feel like, I didn't want to go to that party, but I went and something bad happened, right? And you say to yourself, I should have followed my intuition. Exactly. On the littlest things. It's very simple. On the littlest things about having that intuition. Because we all have the built-in intuition and discernment within us to be able to navigate. And if you're not relying upon that, well, then you're always going to start saying to yourself, I knew it. I knew better. I shouldn't have done it. Should have gone there. So this is how we find the growth, because we can't be excusing things because they seem harmless. Because now is the time to start really identifying, the influences in your life and understand what do you have on in the background that you're unconsciously absorbing. This is very powerful. The subconscious is very powerful. And there's a lot of things that are going on intellectually, subconsciously, always say that's going behind the scenes in a sense, like a background app that's running that we don't realize consciously that they're there. The grief, the trauma, the anger, the resentment, all this stuff is so running on in the background. And all because you're not consciously focusing on that, it's affecting you. It's affecting you. And so a lot of these things, people start asking themselves, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel ill? Or why are these things happening to me? Why is everything happening to me that's bad? And I'm trying. I say, you might be trying, but you're not looking. And a lot of times you're trying to get the things, or you're trying to resolve the circumstance that most of the times is not resolvable in a lot of these situations. You can't resolve it. You can't fix the other person. And so you're not seeing it clearly. You're not looking at things clearly. You're trying, but you're not looking. You're trying, but you're not adhering. You're trying, but you're not seeing. You're trying, but you're not listening. You're trying, but you're not feeling. And so it really is, this perspective right now, I would say, is to take a step back, take an objective perspective of what you're doing in your life, and almost like you're watching yourself. What am I talking about? Who am I listening to? If that person only calls you just to vent to you, possibly you need to stop allowing someone to vent and to dump onto you. You might not be in the position to listen. And perhaps, the people that just want to go out and just kind of take advantage, of your time and just kind of just want to, rendezvous just for no reason and just do pointless, vapid energy. It's time for you to kind of take a step back from that too and put something meaningful in your life. There's so many different variables of this and different examples I can bring up to the table on this. But it's time. It's time to wake up to that. It's time to awaken to this. Because what we don't understand, I always like to say this too, that, the mind is the filter to the soul. And if you understand that you're having a soul experience, and this brain right now is kind of the filter of how you're perceiving your own reality, and if you're not attending to what filters you're putting on your life, then you're actually going to have so many layers of filters that you'll be so out of control in your life, you'll be asking, why is things happening to you? And if you actually start asking yourself, what are the filters I have on my life that could be potentially creating these issues in my life? Right? So right now, even though the collective energy is heavy, it might not be your responsibility to start tapping into that collective energy. Take your nose out of it. It might be time you start looking individually and stop blaming a politician. Stop blaming a president. Stop blaming a party or this party. Stop blaming the news. Stop blaming the media. Stop blaming all these other things of why things are disarray, instead of looking at the choices that you're making that's filtering your soul that makes your life appear like it's in disarray. You see, because a lot of times I look at what's going on in this world, and I'm like, everything that's going on in this world needs to happen. Everything that's going on in this world is happening for a grand reason. The disconnection, the chaos, the separation, the divisive energy, that's a result of human behavior. And it's a result of how we've learned, and a massive result of how we're not learning. So this needs to happen. So I look at it as very necessary times. Those who are still complaining about the divisiveness of the different parties in politics, you're behind. You're not seeing things clearly. It's time to look individually. Okay, and biblically speaking, you remove the plank in your eye before you start to point the plank out in someone else's eye. That's a really great verse in the biblical text, in a sense. So if you're constantly talking about what these other people are doing, ask yourself this: what are you doing? What are you doing? And so we have to understand that we have our own careers, our own lives, and that we have to focus on expanding our own personal lives to make a difference. By arguing about things or complaining about things and contaminating your brain with things that are so in disarray to what you see life should be, you're never going to get there, nor are you contributing anything positive or empowering to society. You're just adding more crap to it. But when you focus on the individual life, and you start behaving in a way where your life is indicative or reflective of the way you see the change should be in the world, you influence others to do the same thing, and you actually bring change in the world, right? So we can't blame the presidents, we can't blame the governments, we can't blame anything. It's up to you to live the life and to experience life and to participate in life the way you see fit. So now it's time to ask yourself, what are you feeding into this brain of yours? What are you putting in? How are you filtering your life? Which filters do you have on it? For me, I like to be filterless. I always say I don't like to be bound by belief structure, because belief structures always change, and the more you grow, they have to change. So also ask yourself, what beliefs have you stored in that subconscious of yours? What beliefs are driving your show? And that's important to identify, because a lot of times we have beliefs that are so outdated, but because they're built to be structured in, you will hold on like a life and death, that you won't let go of those beliefs because they defined you. You should not let beliefs define you, but rather define the beliefs continuously. Those beliefs should be changing and ever evolving. You should not be stuck in a set of beliefs for a long period of time unless they are actually aligned with fundamental truth. And the more you become into it, your soul, the more you will know the difference between personal truth and fundamental truth. Objective truth versus subjective truth. You'll know the differences between the such. And so I always like to say, too, and I've said this before about how to really become a master attractor, is to be able to understand and identify different points of view around in life and understanding where they come from. The more you can understand different perspectives, you're kind of like the God energy. You're all it is. You're seeing all it is for what it is. You're all-knowing, all-seeing. That's how you become good at attracting. But that's also how you become good at understanding your own mind and how to dictate and delegate what you want in your own life, because you understand the different variables of life and the necessities of such. And you wouldn't actually be so hell-bent on complaining the world's going to shit. That's another thing I keep hearing people say, the world's going to shit, the world's going to shit. And this is, a lot of people in the spiritual communities too are saying this, the world's going to shit, the world's going to shit, the world's crumbling. No, there needs to be a breakdown and breakthrough. And if you're that pessimistic to understand that we can't rise above spiritually and the soul cannot rise above, then there's a problem there. That means that you're actually giving in and have already been defeated in your life. And the problem is that, this is a simple change of perspective to understand. There are many people that feel like you, that you can resurrect and to inspire and to ignite, to rise up, to take a step up. If you speak up, others will speak up. But just kind of sit back and say, oh, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. What's that going to do for you? You still have things that you need to attend to. And if you all start following that same narrative because things aren't the way you want it right now, when things need to be the way they need to be, and we survive through this and trek along through this as we have in decades of our past, we've gone through a lot of circumstances in our past and overcome a lot of things. We're going to keep doing that as a species. And that's what the God energy is here for, to make sure that things can continue to evolve. And when things need to evolve and you're not evolving, it's going to be uncomfortable for you. Very uncomfortable. For me, this period is kind of a given to me. I'm like, it makes sense why we're at this position right now. There's a lot of goods and a lot of bads. But it makes sense to me why we're divided right now. I called it out many years ago. And so let's look at that now. Let's look at the individual life. And let's stop making excuses of why we're not living the lives we want to live. It's the health issue. That's my excuse. I have to learn something. That's my excuse. Oh, the politics. That's my excuse. They're taking my rights away. That's my excuse. My mom is an overbearing mom. That's my excuse. I experienced loss in my life. That's an excuse. Right? All these things are excuses. And so you can still tell that narrative of the same excuses over and over again. It's not doing anything for you. And over time, people are going to lack having sympathy for you if you keep repeating that same narrative. Where's the love for the mix? And so we hear all the time in the spiritual communities and even celebrities, love is love, love is love, all this shit about love. But no one who is actually applying that love. And so, and we all talk about self-love, self-love. Does that mean you're supposed to be happy 24/7 of the day? No. You're going to feel like shit at times. Do you know what love is? Love means that you're nurturing yourself through the process. Love means you're saying, I feel like shit right now. Let me avoid anything else that's going to contaminate my energy so I have a free perspective and I can actually have more space to figure out what I need. Not what that one needs, not what that one says, not what this one is relying on me for. It's about saying what I need. That's self-love. And understanding where you're shortchanging yourself and where you're not showing up for yourself. That's self-love. Doesn't mean you're looking at yourself in the mirror, giving yourself a manicure and getting a new hairdo and new clothes and, oh, I love myself. That's not self-love. That's superficial. That's surface love. True self-love means that you're allowing yourself to take the time to nurture whatever state that you're in. You're not judging yourself. You're not shortchanging yourself on how much you can get out of the circumstance that you want to get out of. Like I said, you're preserving your mindset, so you're not allowing anything to affect your mindset to where you're actually allowing yourself to stay focused and clear on what's best for you. That's what self-love is. And your mind is the dictator of what you're going to experience in this world. So just like you guys get your hair done. What do I know about that? Just like you always get your hair done, you go get shopping for clothes, you go to the gym, you work out, you take care of your body parts, you brush your teeth, you take a shower. We all do these things, right? Because we have to maintain those elements of ourselves. Why are we forgetting about the brain? You guys have to understand to maintain and to preserve and to shower and to clean the brain too. That's the most important element. It's the nucleus of who your physical experience. It's the nucleus of what your physical experience really is. So it's time to start cleaning house in the mind and start preserving the mind now and how you're deciding to filter out your physical experience and how your soul is going to experience what you're experiencing right now by focusing on that mind. And if you have to be a little bit of an energetic snob, then so be it. Because that's self-love. You're saying, no, I don't want that in my space. No, I don't want to hear that stuff right now. Because a lot of you guys are not at the point to be objective where you can hear it and not affect you. It took me decades to get to that point. Decades. I look at it and say, it doesn't bother me. I get what it is. I can see what it is. I don't have to pick a side. Right? And yes, Iggy says, clean house with your heart too. Well, that's your soul. You know, the heart is like the nucleus, which is your soul. Your heart is your soul. Okay? So you want to be able to use your soul as a dictation of what is best for you. That's your heart and your soul is actually, to me the same thing, but it's an indicator of what you feel like what is best for you. It's an indicator of what you need and telling you what you should be doing. That's what we call intuition. The intuition is just the mouthpiece of your soul. It's really what it is. And so the more in tune to the soul you are, the more intuitive you are, the more psychic you become, all that great stuff. Okay? So it's that time for this week to start doing this, guys. And the creation and growth cards come out here too, very generally speaking, and so creation means that you're creating that space. A lot of people are misinterpreting in these New Age communities that creation is about creating the family, the house, the car, the monetary shit in their lives. It's about creating a state of being. Remember this. Creating a state of being for yourself. What state of being do you want to be in? A lot of you guys are focusing on you want a new job, but your mind is like not programmed to understand what it's like to be confident. So you got to teach the brain, this is how we become confident. And so instead of focusing on the higher position or job, you actually have to learn the state of being confident. Because that's what's shortchanging you of getting the physical manifestations of your life. Why? Because you contaminated yourself with so many limiting ideas and contamination of outside sources that don't inspire you, that don't motivate you. So your brain is limiting your aspect, your physical experience of experiencing what you feel from the soul is because the physical perspective and persona is not confident enough. And so I say confidence is a result of how comfortable you are with something. The more comfortable you are with something, the more confident you become with it. So like I said before, that's just an example of some of you guys trying to get the physical result of something versus focusing on the state of being. Who do you want to become? And that starts, again, from the soul, the heart, whatever you want to call it, and define it to be, deep down inside what that drive is, right? But your brain needs to be on board on how to get it there. And we got to teach the brain and push ourselves into the proper intellect and perspective in order to allow the soul to express itself without reservation, without hesitation or limitation. And that's what we need to be focused on this week, guys, because you're going to have a lot of And it might even go into the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of like suggestive ideas, intrusive ideas, bickering. You know, as you know, a lot of people here are just like very divided politically. You know, as much as I hate the antis, I also hate the pros. You know, those who are anti this, they're annoying me. And so the pro this are annoying me too. It's two extremes right now that is so out of balance. And so if these extremes in our society is out of balance, do you think you're going to find balance within it? No. So a lot of you guys need to shut it down, turn it off. And this is kind of going to lead me into the topic of, you know, modern day MK Ultra. What is MK Ultra? So a lot of people were asking me, you know, when they saw the topic, and let me pull up my notes here because I just have a little bit of guide of things I want to throw out here too that I don't forget. A lot of people were, you know, wondering what that is, and so MK Ultra was a CIA experiment back in, you know, the 50s. I think 1953. I had to look it up specifically. 1953 through 1964 was kind of the years that they've done this kind of CIA experiment. In order to kind of replace an older mindset. So they utilized this kind of experiment on, you know, say troops who were in the Cold War at that time. And, you know, they came back with like PTSD. So they would utilize, you know, kind of this brainwashing experiment to eradicate that past life to then focus on a newer life. But a lot of, you know, family members are saying that their loved ones are becoming different people, like acting really, you know, bad or forgetting them and being kind of hateful or acting very dark and instead of the loving person they were once before. And so they would utilize this kind of MK Ultra mind controlling experiment on, you know, people who are in psychiatric treatments, right? People are very vulnerable. And so there was even reports that they would even, you know, have prostitutes lure in men, give them LSD, and then they would kind of be all entrenched in LSD, seek psychiatric, you know, help from that, and then they would also be a part of this experiment, right? And so the CIA at this time with MK Ultra was kind of the ones that kind of distributed and dispersed LSD to the American society. And they were using LSD at that time to perform a lot of these experiments. They used psychiatric drugs. They used shock treatment. They used repetition of, you know, having a tape recorder, and they would put them in this kind of coma-like state. They put the tape recorder under their pillow, and people would listen to the repetition. Right. And so one woman, you know, and I was watching a documentary of such, and one woman was talking about how, you know, her husband was like saying before this treatment that she was the apple of his eye. And then after all this treatment, he was abusive to her. Right. And so a lot of this was turned out to be, you know, very detrimental. And you guys can look up MK Ultra, do more of that research on the past of this. And their goal is to create a Manchurian candidate, right? In order to have people do things that they would not necessarily do before this process. Like, for example, do assassinations or do homicides. And they were finding like this experiment was creating such of that. And this was, of course, discovered by a couple American spies and whistleblowers, and so they, you know, researched this, and the CIA did not deny it, by the way, and what this was doing. And so there's also a patent, too, that was created in 2003. I was going to put it on the screen, but I forgot to. I was kind of running a little late. And there is a patent, governmental patent, to use electromagnetic waves through monitors to affect the neurological system. There's a patent for that, which means they can change the hertz of your monitor screen to manipulate your nervous system. There's a patent for that, right? So if we had this CIA mind control MK Ultra experiment, and they were basically learning how the brain works, one, repetition, psychiatric drugs, you know, and ways to alter the brain. They even made a truth potion, they stated too, where they would always give them this potion, and they would only like speak the truth and no lies too. And forget about these use psychic spies back then too. So there's a lot of interesting things. I might do one about psychic spies in another live, and get into the validity of that. But if they were doing that back in that day and age, and you know, back in the 50s and 60s, and they also then had a patent back in 2003. Now I have the patent number 2. I'll have to post it somewhere, where again they can control and manipulate the nervous system through electromagnetic waves through a monitor. Why is there a patent for that? Let's talk about the modern day MK Ultra, shall we? And this kind of goes into the discussion of how we need to be preserving our minds. You know, the first way they are great at manipulating your mind is through news and social media, right? And so they prey on the fear, but they also prey on the empathy to get people charged. And that's when people react. When people feel like they're going to lose something and they have the fear of something, they're going to react out of necessity, out of devastation. They got to do something. They got to react. And so it creates a charge. And they do so by deliberate misinformation. So all the misinformation we're finding all over, spread all over the place, they're created deliberately. Because again, it's a lot easier to distract people with different information, different perspectives, and kind of like wrap truths and lies in a sense to get people confused. Right? And so then we're heavily persuaded by, I would say, the oversaturation on social media, scrolling, and we get that endorphin fix. And so when we're in that theta state of having the endorphins and, we're seeing so much content, we're easily susceptible for programming. Buy this, do that, see this. And a lot of you guys are saying, I thought about something, it showed up in my social media. If you're that in sync with social media, it's time to get off of it. It's time to get off of it. Because that's a reflection that when you think about something that shows up, whether you think they're listening to you or not, or they're hearing you, the fact is you're in sync with it. Time to take a step back off that and ask yourself, is your mind working for you, or are you working for your mind in this case? Distractions. There's so many distractions. Politics are used as a distraction to alter your mind, to fail to realize what's going behind the scenes of modern day politics. Because I always say there is like that pyramid, right? That people say it's the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. There's a pyramid. There's a small group of people at the top that govern all these people below, higher levels of government, lower levels of government, all the way down. And there's people in government who have no clue. They're being puppeted and manipulated. But that's kind of how the structure works. And if you look at this, they control majority of the media. Like 1-2 big corporations, control all the little media stations. And I remember seeing on YouTube, you can look this up, where they showed that there's 50 news channels. We're all saying the same script, and they put all the videos together. Who's creating that one script? Right? And so we also can see now there's been a reliance on our phones. Like, what would you do without your phones? What would you do without your phones? A lot of people say, if I lost my phone, I'd lose everything. Would you even remember the phone numbers of your loved ones if you lost your phone? No, of course not. So they're controlling with this accessibility, this uber connectivity that controls your mind to be reliant. And so I would say, as a quick little, tip, you might want to take a little card and write down important phone numbers of people that you love and put it in your wallet or purse. This way, if you do lose your phone, you understand you still have the connections of people that you need and that you love. Do these things. You don't want to get your brain so reliant that if something happens, you don't have a way out. Rely on something else too. Rely on something else. And they also find ways to kind of manipulate through video games, music, and movies, as we know. Planting, the whole Armageddon, like life is coming to an end and the earth is ending. All that's, people keep saying that because of movies, music, video games. So another fear-based, things are going to hell mentality that's influenced, that everyone thinks that's happening when it's not happening, guys. Hate to break it to you, Armageddon is not coming. It looks like it's not coming. We're changing, okay? Another way they like to, dictate and kind of influence the mind is through your food. Remember there was a war on fat? I always say whenever there's a war of, it's a lie. I remember fat was the problem. We got to limit the fats. And so they took fats out of their diets. That's the demon thing, the fats. And they replaced it with processed foods. Remember, I can't believe it's not butter. Remember that? Because healthy fats are so bad for you. So we need all these fake oils, which is even worse. And they replaced a lot of things. We took the fat out and replaced it with sugar. Remember that? And a lot of synthetic products and chemicals, which create health issues. And then now it wasn't fat. Now it's then it was carbs. Now carbs is the devil. Sugar's the devil now. So then in order to limit the sugar from things, they have to use synthetic, sweeteners. Aspartame. Aspartame, what does that create? Brain cancer. So if aspartame is a synthetic sweetener that's used to sweeten things to remove the sugar, and it creates brain cancer, known for having issues with the brain and brain cancer, what else is it doing to your psychological perspective? Right? And so even flavor chemists at this point, they've stated, I watched a documentary not too long ago about flavor chemists, like how they do that. They want to make it so tasteful that people want to be addicted to it. They literally said this, these flavor chemists. They want people to be addicted and come back for more. Those natural flavors. So I think a lot of this is not deliberately trying to control your mind, but I think there's someone who's dictating a lot of this. But even if it's intentional, unintentional, it's still altering your mind. It's still taking control of things that you're not in control of. Right? So same thing. If they want you to be addicted to that food, that's again, a mind tactic of controlling your mind. Again, either deliberately or not deliberately. And they do it through medication. A lot of these, I would say medications, I believe psych drugs, if you look at the people who do massive, massacres. I'm not going to say the terminology for lack of, because I'm live on YouTube, but a lot of these massacres and big events that people do, if you understand what I'm saying, a lot more on psych drugs. And if you look at the side effects of a lot of these psych drugs, which, I sometimes see when I'm watching a streaming platform for one show that I don't really subscribe to, so I have to watch the commercials, they're all psych drugs, and the side effects are actually what you're trying to prevent. So I saw antidepressants saying that it could cause suicide ideation. And I really believe that a lot of these psych drugs, like MK Ultra at that time, when they're utilizing those things to create people to do things that are out of their nature, some of these psych drugs, I believe, create a lot of these people to go out and, use guns to shoot up a place. I believe that. I believe that's creating a lot of that kind of inspiration in a negative sense and takes control of their brain. A lot of them say they don't know what took over their mind. There's a lot of things here, resources here that we can look at that could be potentially influencing their minds. So the medications and street drugs. I talked to someone a long time ago, this is like 20 years ago, who was a DEA agent, and he just confided to me and told me that they actually put the drugs on the street themselves. They're actually the ones selling the drugs and circulating the drugs. So, hearsay wasn't for me, because the person I knew was an actual DEA agent at the time. And so they circulate these things. And so they also, you influence you through religion and, of course, even spirituality now. So religion, I've always said, has been a aspect of control, right? The distortion of truth, the reliance upon a deity and the power away from the self. And so there's also actually, even in our spirituality community, is like they totally sidetrack people from spirit and more focusing on monetary, law of attraction, manifesting things. That's another distraction, and taking spirit away from things, and kept people in bondage in a sense, because they're not thinking positive enough. It's all about thinking positive. All this misinformation spread around. This is modern day MK Ultra to me. They found ways to not really have people in a room, in a hospital room, injecting medications. They found other ways by studying the mind and how to control and dictate and manipulate the mind to get the mind to be in the fashion they want it to be in, to dictate and control. Again, news, social media, through food, through games, medication, street drugs, religion, spirituality, all these aspects are utilized now. So you have to have the discernment to understand what you're partaking in and what you're dealing with here. You have to understand, do I need that drug? Do I need that medicine? Is sugar really the devil? Is carbs the devil? Like, what's going on here? If sugar comes from fruit, that's natural. So what's going, or is it synthetic? And so it's time to get the knowledge and information of the things that you have around you, instead of trusting what is delivered to you. See, it's important to question everything. A lot of people don't question things enough, because this kind of brain control, and mind infiltration is going through embedded in every aspect of our society right now. And it's kind of winning right now. It's kind of winning. Okay? And so what we should be focusing on now is the truth within yourself first. The truth within yourself. Because when you find the truth in your soul and the inner self, then you'll be aligned with the fundamental truth. You'll see things for what it really is. You wouldn't create some la-la land. Again, this visualization, manifestation is la-la land. It's not tapping into the soul to understand soul purpose, to understand the duality of this reality. It doesn't do that. It's all about getting things. Religion's about serving a God, following orders, following rules. Where's the love in all that? It's not there. And so when you truly understand what love is, and you'll definitely see the absence of such, you'll understand it's a bunch of bullshit. And it's a bunch of manipulating aspects in this reality. And so it's time now to start setting up to this and understanding how these mind-controlling, mind aspects of dictating how you should feel and what you should think and not think and what you should react to and respond to. A lot of people are just reacting out of what they're reading and how they're feeling. It's time to be conscious of this now and start having more discernment about this. And then this way, you can actually start seeing the truth, and you understand how you can make a difference in your own life, but also be a contribution to the spiritual collective evolution. We need more people on board now. Okay? So, that's my little discussion about the MK Ultra and how it's being utilized in today's modern day society very subtly. Little bits and pieces spread out everywhere. Does that mean all medication is bad? No. Does it mean all religion's bad? No. Does it mean all of the spirituality is bad? No. That's the point. That's the brilliance behind it. Let's package this truth and a little bit and some lies. And this way, you get some results. It's like a cult, actually. You get results, but then you realize you're being controlled and manipulated. So speaking of this week, like we said before, it's time to get the mind on board. Start to be conscious. It's time to start really understanding what you're giving space in your mind to, and what doesn't need any more space in the mind, and what you need to start delegating for yourself, and how you're thinking, and how you're processing. And your feelings will tell you every step of the way, and your external world is always an indication of where you're standing right now. Okay? All right. Where y'all at in the conversation? Tell me what you guys are feeling. You understand. Yeah, it's true. Understand, right? We always say understand. I always say, when I feel understand, I always feel weird about that too. But and it's not to be conspiracy theory about this. The MK Ultra is actually a literal experiment that went on from the CIA. So if they did that then, what do you think they're doing now with all this accessibility they have to us? All this connection they have to us? You know, and so look beyond these situations. Look beyond the news. Look beyond the politics. Look beyond all these things. It's now time to start seeing things with a very keen eye. So then you're not being like in this haze. Like I'm starting to notice too, people are like in this weird haze lately. They're not even thinking straight anymore. I mean, people don't even work anymore. People aren't even doing their jobs anymore, you know? So people are just in this weird haze, like they're just becoming, and I think the zombie apocalypse thing is more about this. We have the zombies. The zombies are here already. Does that mean that we're gonna like the end of the world? No, but it's the end of an older paradigm for sure. But the zombies are already here. They're brainwashed. They're brain dead. They're kind of like, you see it around. I'm talking to someone, a clerk at the grocery store. It's like, hello, anyone home? You know, the lights are on, but no one's home. So it definitely is time for you guys to start using your voices now and start bringing that energy. A lot of you guys have that energy that you're just exhausting on other people, or you're exhausting your energy on a lot of people that don't deserve it, who are in a haze and not getting out of the haze. And you have to ask yourself, is this worth my time anymore? And are you going to be a good shepherd energy and sacrifice your own life for somebody else's, inequities? Are you going to do that? Are you going to play the Christ energy? You don't have to, but are you going to? And ask yourself, do I have it in me, the bandwidth to be able to sacrifice my life for a friend or someone else who's going through hard times? Want to have children? What are you sacrificing yourself for? What's important? Okay, so let's get to the readings. What are you guys talking about in here? It is a beautiful evening. Oh, you're going for a good walk. It's nice, huh? And where you in? You said where you at in Texas? Where in the heart of Texas? Where are you at? Where at? And what's the weather? Is it humid there, Casclo? Is it humid? Texas gets a little humid over there. Anyways, let's get to the readings now. Let's see who's got what and go where and not mop and beat and bop and bop. Yeah, I mean, everyone's been feeling tired. I mean, exhaustion has kind of been the undercurrent of the cancer season. Okay, but like I said last week too, a lot of guys are exhausted because your empath's picking up on the collective energy. You have to be very much aware when you're reacting to the collective energy. If you're picking up energy from the collective and understanding how to shut it out. And a lot of times you guys think it's you. There's something wrong with you because you feel this heavy energy. It's like, consider you're picking up the energy of the world right now. And ask yourself, what can you do to distract yourself or detach yourself from that and not pick up on all that? Okay? And so a lot of guys need to understand that too. Like, the heaven is not just yours. It's a collective. And allow yourself to shield yourself from that. And that would be a huge importance during this time too. As I'm pointing. Okay, let's see who's foist. Who's foist on the list? We have Kelsey Angliano. Did I say that correctly? Okay, my question pertains to the honesty of my husband. Is there anything that my husband is being dishonest about that I don't already have proof of? Thank you, and any help you can offer. Okay. Pay attention, guys, who have a similar question. Pay attention. Is he, yes. This is, again, for Kelsey Agliano. Hope you're here. I'm doing your question. Yes. I feel like there's like nuggets of mistruths or something. Like nuggets of things that are just not true here and there spread around. feels there's also something financial that's withholding financially too, I feel like. And despite the stuff you've already found proof for, like chat records or something. I'm seeing like records, like you have records of something that I think that you probably do have. There's some financial things. So yes, I still don't think you have the full truth, but I feel like there's like these little nuggets of, dishonesties around this. You know what I mean? So, I would say honestly, just as advice and to keep it simple, like one discrepancy would be enough for me. One lie like that or hiding something would be enough for me. But ask yourself, what's your threshold? I did a video on this. What's your threshold? Does it take you 100 lies or one lie or 5? How many lies does it take for you to reach the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? Sorry, I had to go there. No, how many lies is it going to take for you to exit and to, put a kibosh on it? So, there's. I just see a scattered. You're gonna find different nuggets of mistruths or I don't want to say lies, but lies. I feel like it's more withholding of things. I feel like on my end, what you haven't figured out is more withholding of things. That I feel like, and so you'll just have to kind of dig them up. And they seem scattered, so they must be spread out to different topics or different areas of the life, in a sense. It's not like I feel like, oh, he's just dishonest about this, or he's dishonest just about one thing. It seems like a lot of little things that will come to the surface, I feel. Random card pull for Kate again. I would say Scott needs to wear red more often, right? Oh. More bling, lots of bling. Well, what kind of bling you talking about, Daryl? Huh? What kind of bling? What kind of bling are we referring to here? Because, I don't know. Kind of bling. I always go with the theme. Like, I'm thinking like, the whole MK Ultra mind control. So I have like the hypnotic loop, and red being passion, red being, the heart of the matter. So I kind of like dress for the theme. I have my diamonds. I don't wear them too often because they're blingy. They're big, and sometimes I just forget to change them. Like I should have put on the gold ones, but I figured the black. I don't know, but yeah, no. I'm very feng shui this evening. That's good to know. If you saw my house, it's very feng shui. Again, for Kate, not much, because we've been reading for Kate for every week, so not much is going to change week to week. Don't feel bad about that. So the message might be repetitive in a sense or slightly different. So understand when you guys get checked in every week, sometimes things don't drastically change. Sometimes things don't drastically change a month, so there might be repetitions. And so for me, I feel that, or the cards are saying, let me pull an oracle too. I feel like they're saying you got to let go of the fight. Kate's got to let go of the fight. Okay, I feel like Kate's still fighting for this, injustice of a relationship, or fighting for the injustice of something, and it's like, let go of the fight. It's not the fight. Your fight anymore. It's time to let go of the fight. Stop fighting. Stop trying to look for the secrets. Stop trying to like digest and look for more of the lies. Stop getting into all that. It's time to let it go. It's time to like say it's not your fight to fight any longer. Right, so it's really time to surrender, to say like we're moving forward now, because your mind is still kind of processing like I need to fight this, and like, but there was lies and this wasn't right for me. That's good that you feel like you deserve better and should be respected better, but it doesn't mean you have to go back and fight it or to readdress it. Leave it alone. Don't address it. You don't need to address it. It's okay to understand it intellectually so you can do more for yourself. Doesn't mean you have to go and address it and pick a fight and prove that you've actually found some sort of lie or information. They're saying to let it go. Let it go. It's sweet of you, Chelsea. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have you on this wonderful show. But that's the energy we're getting for that too. CD Aaron, oh my God, tell me something good. What's on top? I don't know, Sydney. The first thing that came to mind was girl time. So you might be spending more time with friends. I don't know, or you should be emphasizing more time with friends. I feel like more of a bonding energy with people and friends right now in your life. So there might be actually more fun stepping in. I I know Leo season's right around the corner, so that might be the time where you start having more fun and letting your hair down, figuratively speaking. So that's a good thing. And so I think that that's really something that will be great for you coming up and something good. And really kind of like endearing friendships. They were saying like friendships that are really close and endearing and true and honest and having a foundation in that. So I actually feel more of a, I don't want to say party mode in upcoming Leo season, but kind of that. Where you feel like you're having more fun, you're letting your hair down, you're getting out more in that sense. I like it. I like it a lot. So that'll be great. That'll be fun. And card pull for Lexi D. And we'll probably have an early night. It's kind of not that much reads, but that's good. Light night. Light night. Is that where you're at right now, City in Atlanta? I forget. But yeah, I think you're going to feel a support, community support, they're saying, too. Which is fantastical. Fantastical. Okay. For Lexi D, just the shuffling over here. What do you think, Sydney? Do you feel that? You feel that community coming for you? Can you see yourself? Because I just feel they're showing you they're just having like a really good time and getting out and doing things that are more, recreational, getting out of your head in a sense. So that's what they'd be saying. This is for Lexi D. I just got to find the name for card pull. They're saying you're not using your intuition enough, Lexi, that somehow you're not following your intuition. I don't know if this is it's a money matter, financial matter that you're just not like paying attention to, or you're shortchanging yourself financially somehow. I'm trying to see who these two people are too that are coming up. There's like two people that I have to read this. If there's going to be any legality or financial aspect, if it's not happening now, if it does happen and it might involve two other people, make sure you use your intuition. I'll say this. So if there's a money issue that's not yet you're not connected with now, it will come about with some sort of, I don't know if it's a legality or money issue that involves two other people, that you just have to be very intuitive and use your gut on it, and don't like let yourself back down from it. They're saying. Okay, so whether that's present or future, I can't tell. I just feel like I feel that energy now. So make sure you utilize your intuition on this money issue that involves two other people. They might try to scam you. They might try to, take advantage, something, and don't overlook it. Don't overlook it. Okay? And I think that's something that I think that's really important too with that. And if you don't overlook it, follow your intuition on this matter, then I feel like it will resolve in your favor. So it might be that someone's like trying to negotiate something with you, you're trying to purchase something, and they're trying to finagle money out of you, and you're just like, and then you feel that intuitive, and you step up to like, no, this doesn't feel right, then it'll go in your favor. If not, they might take you for something. Okay, so if it's not happening now, it's more future-based then. Card pull for Chelsea Manica. From North, I'm assuming that's Australia, Janet? Is it Australia? No, from far north, QLED, Australia? I'm assuming. I don't know what QLD means. If you could enlighten me. It's there. All right, just quick for Chelsea. Okay, let's see here. All right. Chelsea Manica, Queensland. Thank you. Queensland, Australia. Welcome aboard. What time is it there in Queensland? What's the time there? I'm just curious. Yeah, everyone's telling me the Queensland. I am still shuffling for Chelsea. Give me better cards than that. And okay. Okay. You set boundaries. Repetitive message. Set boundaries in, as you can see here, I'm not going to say it for you. Boundaries. Okay. Don't be split in your agenda, because I like how, with the King of Wands came first. It's like victory. You're victorious in something. So make sure you don't allow anything to hold you back, because King of Wands is someone who's like you've accomplished something, right? And the Wands are always kind of emotional and also very have a creative energy. So it could also be anything that you're striving to do, striving to accomplish, like you'll be victorious in that. But don't allow the relationship to pull you out of that. You know what I'm saying? Set those boundaries emotionally. So don't give that too much energy that you don't need to be giving to it. Okay? And so the King of Wands coming in, it's like, obviously you've accomplished something, they're saying. There's an accomplishment. And so stick with your accomplishment. Don't let anything else pull you back from that, they're saying. And have more patience with how things go in your life too. You need to be more patient about the evolution of how you're going to go through things. It's a very emotional read on this one. Just be more patient on this. But I feel like an accomplishment. But have patience about how you still move forward, and understand. Stop trying to pull yourself and split yourself between what you're doing for yourself versus the relationship and how it's pulling from you. Split that. Set those boundaries on that intellectually and emotionally. Okay, that's important to do. Sashika Jordan Wiggins. 1, told my mom future life events when young that came true, including when I'd die, with a peaceful knowing. Told my mom it's okay because it's supposed to happen. Any thoughts? Also, I want to know if there's a loved one pass with a quick guidance or message for me. I don't do mediumship on these simple questions, but I'll just do that. I mean, I don't. The mediumship requires some thought and care. I don't like to just throw it out there, but I'll see what comes through if I can. But let me see about your future events. I mean, I don't know why. Let me see if that. I hate these death questions, to be honest with you. I mean, clearly you're intuitive, right? So let's just put the obvious on the table. You're intuitive. Clearly, you have predictive aspects, and most children do when they're younger. I just think what you're kind of doing is flashing forward in your life, and you saw your death. I don't necessarily mean that you're going to die before your mom, right? So I just have to call out the obvious, even though I don't like talking about death predictions at all with people who it's not my responsibility to do that. I am not God. But my thoughts on that is the fact that it's you should continue yourself and tapping into more of that perspective and more of that insight. It shouldn't have been anything that stopped when you were younger. You should be continuing that, especially understanding how you can utilize that for yourself. That was my thoughts on that. More about a guidance response on this. And so, again, some of these questions require full reads, but I'm going to be very simple in the questions for time's sake and because of the length of the question. I really feel like you should tap into more of that energy. And, if you had it then, you have it now. I think that's very important. A lot of you guys have been very intuitive when we're younger. When we're younger, we have more of that awareness. Our minds are open, so we can really kind of get the psychic, intuitions and the stumbling on my words right now. You can get the predictions. You can get those when you're actually, allowing yourself. When you're more open when you're a kid. A lot of kids see their past lives, and so there's an open channel. You can reopen that, especially if it was open before. We all can open it to a certain degree. So that's my recommendation. And the loved one who's passed, with one quick guidance or message for me. I mean, these questions are they're vague, but they're also, where do I go for a simple thing? And I'm just trying to be quick, because sometimes I drag myself out and I get tired. So I apologize if I'm processing too much in my mind. And I'm vocalizing what's in my head. I get a maternal grandmother energy. Okay, the maternal grandmother energy is saying to me that you should really be, focusing on, she said, visual creativity. So however way you can express yourself visually, I think really harnesses your intuition, right? So whatever visual creativity or expression you can find or you can dive into, to express this, I feel like she is a guide for you. I feel like your maternal grandmother also had psychic abilities, or also had connections to, any connection to mysticism, spirituality. I feel like she has a connection there for that. And she wants you to harness this by using that with visual creativity. I think that could be your channel, your port, the port to it. So, and I think she might be kind of coming through more to you as well in that sense. So yeah, I definitely get that the grandmother energy coming through, maternal grandmother energy coming through with that aspect. And you should tap into that ability. I think she can be a great portal for you. I think she could be a great link for you to really tap into your own intuitive abilities and kind of express that visual creativity. 100, like I say, 100. But yeah, I mean, I feel a huge charge there, and I feel like the maternal side has a lot of like lineage, you know, of this, a lot of mystical lineage. You got that, girl. You got it, girl. You got this in that. Oh, is that you? Oh, it's you cascading. I didn't realize that was you. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, see, I never met my maternal grandmother. Like my mom's, she passed when my mom was very young, but she appears to be a guide for me as well. I never met her. So, but she might come to you where it's clear, you know, but get into the visual creativity that she's saying to like harness that, because I feel like she could also be a link for your intuitive abilities. And I feel like you'll pass before, like we said before, like I don't like the death questions, you know, but I understand the question you're asking me in that. And so I just feel like you were just tapping to a lot of things. And I think the reason why you maybe tapped into your death at that time, because you understand about reincarnation, you understand about all that things. So it's more about that and less about you predicting your death at some point. I think you were trying to explain to your mom that like it's peaceful. Like when you pass on, you die on, you're peaceful. I think you were getting that information. You know what I mean? And so it's like saying like, well, because I've done this before, or it's all good when we pass, Mom, don't worry. Like, and you might have also been, feeling a mom's fear about losing you. And I think at that time you had a fear of your mom had a fear of losing you. She might have been in a stage of loss. And I think at that time you were just comforting her. Mom, it's okay. Everything's good. So I feel like you're picking up on that at a young age, actually. So yeah, I think that's kind of the guidance there. Everyone should pay attention to what you're feeling, guys. Pay attention to what you feel. Pay attention to what you get. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to everything. So I'm using that example to like inspire people. Don't dismiss it. You know, and if you have these things that come up to you, these little intuitive aspects, write them down then. If you're not going to fully believe in it and invest in it, then write them down. You know. Okay. Hope that makes sense for you. But yeah, she actually, even just briefly tapping into her too, my demeanor kind of like changed. I got very, very light. I got very kind of firm. I got a very control energy and a very insightful energy. Her demeanor even changed when I tapped into her. I'm just a loudmouth, Italian over here. But use her as a guide. Cascading. All right. And keep me posted on that too, Cascade. Keep me posted like on, if you understand the visual the visual creations, the visual creative expression. All right. Okay, this is for Sarah Shaney. Okay. Okay. You basically got the Empress card, Sarah. So to me, the Empress means that right now you're in a circumstance where you kind of you're kind of flying high. You're kind of flying high here. And so the Empress card is very much that. And I think that, you might have things in the palm of your hand at the moment too. But don't let yourself run amok with that idea, right? So like Ace of Wands, very much creative ideas and being master of creativity. But in conjunction of what I'm getting this read about, having things in the palm of your hand, don't go too far with it. Don't go too. Don't let it go to your head. I guess is the way to say it. Like allow yourself still to take a step back and be patient, observant. And don't push too much because of this, feeling like things are kind of in your hand right now. With that Empress energy, you do want to make sure you're not going to sabotage that. The still balance is necessary at this time. There's and this might be something additional. There's some legal issue or matter that you might be getting into, so you might need to get an attorney for a legal issue. It feels like you might be the one that has to kind of, put in the work of defense in a sense, but it works in your favor. Like it works in your favor. That's to come. And so with the King of Pentacles, it's very much kind of a financial issue, but this is kind of the attorney that comes in for me with the King of Pentacles. And the Ten of Swords is like you might feel defeated, but you're not. Works in your favor. It might appear like you'll be defeated, but you're not, because it worked in favor with the Justice card here. So that's more for future. So any legalities that come up with you in that regard, understand, if you just stay focused on that and you stick up for what is true for yourself, then yeah, I feel like then you'll be successful and you'll get the justice that you need. Okay. Oh, well, there it is. Well, there it is. So maybe the results will be fair. So there he goes. That's that legal issue. Okay, minor, but maybe he'll help you on it. Yeah, because I feel like they were out to get you. That's what kind of feels like to me with that ticket or legality. You know what I'm saying? It really feels like they were out to get you. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It just seems petty in a sense. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like if you're going 100 miles an hour, I can understand that, but I feel like it was kind of a little petty. Like they could have just gave you a warning type of thing, right? And by the way, it's interesting this comes up in the read too, Sarah, because I was just telling you to slow down, right? I said you have the powers in your hand, right? And so I said, now the power's in your hand, don't go too far, just slow down. So it's funny that you got a speeding ticket. Think about this. Let's go back and watch that. And take your time on things. So this could be just an indication too that you need to slow down, period. It's just another reflection. I've said this a couple lives ago that you have so many signs around you. So if you got a speeding ticket, you're going too fast, but take that also figuratively speaking too. And that came in the read right before that. Okay? So yeah, back in April, but you're dealing with it now, right? You're dealing with it right now. Yeah. It was back in April, but you're dealing with the attorney now. So you just got it. So that's why it came up now. Okay, Valerie Field. Card pool. Por favor. All right, shuffling. These cards are just janky tonight. Y'all feeling janky too? Yeah, and see, that's the thing. Sometimes we get on a high with something, and something is going well that we just we just overdo it. Sometimes just saying don't make sure you don't do that. Perfect. It's a human condition for us to, and I was just sitting here just thinking about what I want to say. It's a human condition that we feel something, we want to get more of it. It's a human condition. Instead of saying, I taste it, it's good, I'm satisfied, right, for a little bit, right? So we have to kind of understand that we have that nature, that we feel something, we want more of it. I got into experience of being an Aquarius. Sometimes I go full force with things. I realize, it was just too much, or, it just gets old quick, right? So I like to navigate through life, enjoying the moments, because, they can get old very quick when we go full force on things, as I used to. So, all right, Valerie Feld. I think it's Feld. Oh my God, these cards are bad. Interesting. I'm trying to think where I want to go with this here, this read. This is for Valerie Feld. I'm going to see where I'm going to go with this. There's good changes here. I feel like, and this is more advisory, more emotional advisory type of lead. I feel like you're focusing on too much things that you don't have instead of looking at things that you do have, right? Because I think there's a change that might happen. We're just going to be very general on this because it's a card pull. But I feel like things are going to be changing soon for you. And you're going to have to make a decision, between two ideas, right? Either to go here or go there, right? I'm just going to be very general on this because it's for the sake of time. In fact, it's just a card pull. But they are general. As I always say, card pulls are very general. Sometimes if I chose to get specific, I do. But it depends on the essence of it. In this case, it needs to be general. But they're saying you're focusing on too much of the things that you didn't accomplish or you didn't acquire, that you're missing out on all the things that you have acquired, and that you're about to embark on a change in your life. It could be professionally, it could be, just overall. And I feel like it is overall, which is why I'm being general on this. And you might have to decide whether or not you're going to move or not, or relocate. So that also might come into the mix too. And so I feel like that you're kind of torn between this wonderful change versus still kind of stuck on the past in a sense of things you didn't acquire or things you didn't do or things you didn't fulfill. And when you've fulfilled quite a lot, you got to start embracing that of what you have acquired so you can actually move on and start this new chapter for yourself. And, stop competing with yourself. You're competing with yourself in your mind. And it's like, stop doing that because then you're keeping yourself stuck. And so you're going to have to make a decision between if you're going to want to relocate or not, or take a trip, or just see a move or relocation or some sort of traveling choice you'll have to make. Okay? And so if you let go of the past, you'll know what to do. If you stop saying you didn't do this, I didn't do that, I never did this, then you'll understand what to do when it comes to that decision making. And the wisdom, it's just wisdom. It's just a card of just like that, just being wise about your decisions and wise about, your life. And a lot of guys, you're not being wise about what you've been doing in your life. You haven't been really wise about like how you've been structuring your lives. And, being wise means that you're not like giving yourself too much shit where you stay stuck. You got to be wise in that sense. Is it wise to, kind of like condemn yourself because you didn't do things you wanted to do or you didn't mark those checklists? Is that wise to treat yourself that way? Is it wise to, not allow yourself to continue to grow? Is that wise? It's not. And so they're just saying to make sure that you're allowing yourself to, to take this next step, take this next change in a sense, because there are good things that are going to happen out this. So you just kind of let go of the past, emotional past of what you think you've deprived yourself of, which in a sense is an illusion. So it's actually a good read too, because it means that there's a lot more enjoyment ahead. Well, consider this your push, okay? So that's why I think it was general, because there's a lot of things. And so, but that's how you do it, my love. You do it by understanding what you accomplished and what you've done that was great, and letting go of the things that you didn't do so you understand what you really want to be doing next, in that sense. That's why the Two of Pentacles came up about having to make a choice. And again, remember this too, okay? One choice is going to resonate with your future self, and the other choice is going to resonate with the past self. I'm going to say this is going to be very easy for you because I feel like your choices are split like that. One decision is more reflective of the future growth that you're doing, and the other part of the choice that you should be making is like almost like a reflection of the older you. So look at it in that context. You can decide for which is more representational of the future you when it comes to the circumstances that you might be torn by. Okay? Lexi D. That sounds like a DJ. Lexi D. Will Giovanna and I end up together, married / dating? I don't see I don't know about the marriage. Yeah, that's what I was saying, my love. That's what we're talking about, like the past stuff. It's the past stuff. Like you're making decisions based on what you didn't do in the past, and you're still riding on that. And so you'll rewatch it. You'll see what I'm saying. So yes, and that's the advice, because I feel like there's good things ahead. You're stalling, right? So that's preventing you. I don't see this. The marriage thing, no. I just don't see that connection in a sense. Yeah. I don't know. It feels like a struggle to me. It's almost that I feel like that she doesn't know what Giovanna doesn't know what she wants in a sense. I'm kind of feeling that energy. That I feel like there's this, indecisive energy about them that never really kind of comes to a resolve. They're saying there's gonna be a lot of waiting, but too much waiting. Like you shouldn't, like unnecessary amount of waiting on this dynamic if you're waiting on it. And I also feel like the indecisive energy with her too is kind of like we were just talking about this before. There might be someone else that they're still not completely emotionally over, too. And I feel like it's going to take them a lot of time to even process to get over that. I mean, it seems some from the past or someone resolved, and so they carry this, and so her energy feels a little scattered in that sense, energetically. I just feel like she'd be making a lot of excuses why she can't move forward, right? So I don't know if you're going to stick around to wait for that. Because I feel connections, but then I feel distance, right? Then I feel connections, then I feel distance. So it feels like it doesn't necessarily like it goes like this, and then, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like there's a moment where it just goes like this for a while. So I would advise you to be more objective on this situation and ask yourself how patient would you have to be for something like that, So I also don't feel like this person, is aware of what you bring or what you can do. They're not so aware, So I don't know, if that means she's not aware of you or where you can contribute, or she just feels like she's unaware overall. So I think that's probably the issue for me in that regard, in that question, But I personally don't. I feel like it would be too much work, and too much work for little results in that dynamic. So, not saying anything bad about you or them. It's just I feel like it would be cumbersome a bit. It feels a little bit cumbersome now. It feels like it's confusion, indecisiveness, energy surrounding it right now. So, not particularly in that sense. But I think you know that in your heart, my love. Stop pushing for something that might be a good idea, but, come from your heart on this one. I think your heart knows that. Okay, Kate, this is a good question. This question could actually, Kate paid for a question for everybody because this is a good question for everybody. How can I be better at protecting my energy from the collectives? Working in a small office, hard to hide how I feel and don't want to hide. I don't want to share with them why I'm feeling off. Everyone is always coming to me trying to take my energy nosy. This is simple. First of all, ask yourself, do they deserve it? All because you worked with them. Are they entitled to your feelings? Are they entitled to your energy? What have they brought to the table to deserve any type of emotional feedback from you? Let's start being rational about this. Did they deserve or earn any of that? You're not entitled. They're just co-workers. You don't work for them. They're not entitled to be emotionally invested in you. So let's keep it simple in that regard. They're not entitled. It's not their business. And so that's how you first preserve your energy from being connected to them, by saying, it's none of their business what I do. They're not connected. They're not entitled to that, right? So when you understand that and you disconnect yourself from the mentality of them, and you understand there is no connection other than just we're coworkers and the variables of that, you can put into your mind what people actually do deserve from you and what they don't deserve from you. And you don't have to feel guilty for not giving it. Your duties is to show up and do your work, and that's it. Your duties is not to pacify people at work. Your duty isn't to tell people what's going on emotionally. Your duty isn't to caretake or emotionally, coddle them. That's not your job requirements. So the way to really, handle this aspect is to know people's places in your life, and they need to know their place. And if they don't know their place with you, tell them what place to have with you. And so you don't have to hide. What you have to do is to not first care, right? Because, you're show up to do your job. You don't have to be social. Period. And so the one thing I want to ask you is, if they're not loving and supportive of you, why do they matter? Where's their guilt for? You're not an entertainer. You're not there to entertain them, right? So let's get yourself in the right mindset here when it comes to this. The people you feel mostly responsible for are people that you're caretaking, like, say, a child, right? And so it's a lot easier to say boundaries. All right, it's a lot easier to say that, but we have to understand the intellect that's needed so you can create the boundaries. We can say, set boundaries, but then what does that mean if you don't have the intellect to set the boundaries? So the intellect is, you need to put them in their place. Their place is their coworkers. They don't need emotional investment. They don't need to understand what's going on with your personal life. It's not their fucking business. And if they're trying to make it their business, tell them, excuse me, like you're crossing a boundary here. Then you can tell them that they're crossing a boundary. And I like to be left alone, please. And who cares if they think you're a dick or a bitch or whatever the case is? Who cares? What are they going to do? Do they have your job in their hands? No, they don't. So it's irrelevant. And people who truly care and support you would give you the space when you need to. If they're not respecting the space that you need, they don't have any. They should harbor any type, zero consideration for you about what they feel. And so first is to understand their place. And so especially people who don't have any tie to you, they should not be harboring any consideration in your mind. You show up, you be polite, you be cordial, you move on. It's irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, does it matter what's going on in their stupid brains? Does it matter when they go home, they talk about you? Who cares? And if they're even talking about you when they go home, like, how do they have nothing better to talk about? Oh, this girl Kate, she's so closed off at work. Oh well. And anyone else who wants to enjoy that conversation is just as stupid as they are. Let's call that out. Anyone bright would say, oh, she wants a little bit of space. Give her space. Those are the people you want to look out for. Those are the people you want to respect. Your respect is earned. Stop feeling you have to give respect to people who don't earn it, right? Let's be, I would say, logical about it, rational about it. So first is having that mindset and intellect, and then preserving what you want and saying, this is what I want. And so respect it or don't respect it. That's it. And that comes with practice, understanding the self-respect that you deserve and eliminating the guilt. The guilt. It's not your job to make people feel better. So stop feeling guilty about how you think people are going to feel because of your decisions. Get over that. It's not your responsibility to dictate how people feel. That's their responsibility to control their emotions. So it's your responsibility to be honest and upfront, And so just get yourself into that perspective of seeing it that way and looking from a third perspective, saying, who are these people? What validation, what importance do they have in my life? And so it is that simple, right? And just start asking those questions for yourself will get you into reasonable intellect to understand that it won't affect you because it shouldn't. It has no bearing on anything. Okay, Meredith McIntosh. Question. What if anything do you see in regards to my love? Okay. What if anything? I feel like you're making it work. You're making your relationships work, my love. You asked a question. I'm like, I gotta stretch my back out. You're making it too difficult. You're just saying in general, my love. You're making relationships too difficult. You're too fussy in relationships, and I say fussy in a sense of you're trying to fix things. You're a fixer too. You got to stop fixing things or trying to, clean things up for other people, and being responsible for other people. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop that energy so it's heavy. You're trying to do too much, but you're not reserving enough time and space for you. So this kind of goes perfectly off of Kate's question in a sense. But for somehow you think that, you need to be noticed. And so you do this to be noticed. You try to take care and help people and be there for people in order to be noticed. And so you're not attracting the right people. You know what I mean? And so that's what you need to reevaluate. So I feel like the love life is a little dry. You need to let's amp this love life up. You should be having a lot more vibrancy in your life right now, which I feel like you'll have more vibrancy in the next couple months. So you might snap out of this in the next couple of months and allow yourself to have fun. So I am seeing the next couple of months and be a charming, suitor in your life. But I think you're also carrying some past residues from past relationships too, my love, energetically that gotta go. And stop the mentality of trying to cover or carry people too much and clean up after people, figuratively speaking. once you do this, I think that you'll probably allow yourself to have a little more fun, and that fun I feel like will come in like sometime in the next couple months, and you might meet someone who has more of a fun energy for you, more of a fun vibe. So I see that means something coming in, or a new endeavor experience, whether it be someone new or a relationship that you're in as stale, it turns new. Like I'm not necessarily seeing anyone consistent right now. I saw someone new coming in, and if maybe you're entertaining somebody, then that other person replaces them in a sense. I just feel there's an energy of the past that lingers that you might need to clear out too, in that sense. So, okay, Lexi D, what is it saying? Whatever, it's a question. Can you say or tell me how soon I will find my soulmate? The one I married, one, I mean, I don't like the soulmate energy. Can we say life partner? Soulmate is somebody who helps you on the soul level. Can we just break this terminology, right? So this, I'm just saying it's generally Lexi, because I hate when people use this. Life partner is a better question, because, like your mother could be a soulmate, a brother, like friend could be a soulmate. It's like soulmate's so cliche. We start breaking these cliches, okay? Say that, number one. Number two, like we need to be more specific on life partnership. It's not around the corner, I'm going to be honest, but it's like 5 years, right? You might have some stumbling blocks along the way, right? Or not stumbling blocks, or what they call it, stepping stones of relationships along the way. But it might be another 5 years or so before that comes into view for you. But I mean, we could accelerate this, but you got to, I think you're being too surface on your perspectives on relationships. When I say surface, like we need to go deeper for what you want to express in your relationships. You might be too like, oh, I want someone for the rest of my life, and I want to get married, and so therefore, yeah, and so it feels too hollow. And I think that the reason why it's running 5 years right now, because that'll take the time where you find the emotional depth and the emotional intellect on what you're really wanting, to where it's more certain, it's deeper. So you need to start cutting deeper. You're not cutting deep enough for yourself. And so that's why it's running 5 years. If you do this and kind of make a flip in that way, you can maybe bring that in sooner. You can alter that time frame. So these types of predictions aren't set in stone. That's just kind of how it's rendering right now because of where you're at. But when you shift that mentality, you could probably bring that in sooner. But right now, it's running about 5 years. Someone to marry, like a life partner energy. But you're holding yourself back. You're being too vapid on your requests, is what I heard. And so when I say vapid on your requests, I think that it's an indication we want you to be more specific about what your chemistry looks like and what it looks like for you and your chemistry and what that appears. Not just because they're cute and they love you, and not just because they're like, oh, we're getting married. It's like, what does that really mean intellectually? What does that mean on the soul level? Because a lot of times you guys are projecting what you want, but you're being conditional on your requests. And this is for everybody, and this is what I'm saying here. You're being conditioned with your requests, and so you want something deeper, but you're not going deep, so you just don't manifest anything. And so you have to understand that if you want something deep, you got to go deep with yourself, what you're wanting, where you stand, all that wonderful stuff. So that's kind of the additional information with that. Okay, I think I have a few more. Go to PayPal. And see here, bada bing, bada boom, and then we'll conclude the evening because I'll shutting down the readings for now because it's a perfect time to end. I have 2 more left. Let's get these in, and we'll get the ball rolling. Because talking about the mind and all that stuff has been kind of like heavy on the mind, has it not been? And it's just been heavy. You can feel the collective, and it's going to be heavy for some time, guys. And so you'll have energy, right? Oh, you're so beautiful, my love. Thank you so much. Hope it makes sense. But hey, the good thing is that I saw one there. Right? So that's a good sign. Good night, Chelsea. Hope you have a wonderful evening, my love. Sleep tight. Okay, I'm just logging into PayPal because I know there's one that came in there. I'm just doing in order, everybody. So bear with me un momento. Okay. Yeah, and so the heaviness might go on for a little longer because of the collective, but you can do things to set yourself up outside of that, like knowing your limits, knowing your boundaries. Okay, Carrie Johnson. Thank y'all for waiting, okay? 2 questions. Should I go to New York? Will I get my settlement I want? Yes and yes. How's that? That's easy, Carrie Johnson. Should you go to New York? Yes. Will you get the summer that you want? Yes. Let me see if the amount is the way you want it to be. They're saying around the amount that you're expecting on a settlement. You know, so around it. So I just got yes and yes. Now, go to New York as far as temporary, sure, but I don't know if you're talking about a move or not, but I feel like for temporary purposes, I'm saying yes. Moving purposes, you might want to not think about that. I would say no. But temporary purposes, going off, getting, yeah, sure. Yes. And the summit, yes. And we'll confirm this real quick. Two of Wands. Y'all in between two decisions too, huh? I mean, that was also a quick yes and yes for me too, so... Look at this. 10 of Pentacles over here. 10 of Pentacles is all about money, finances, investments, all that stuff. So that's a good sign on that question. Okay? And the New York thing was 2 of Wands. It means that you might be like indecisive. But it's saying, sure, maybe not to move. But take this as a good indication, okay? The 10 of Pentacles. And thanks for waiting, because I know, I've gotten a little behind here. Beth LeSueur. I'm not going to ask the question because I just read, don't say my name, please. So we'll move on. We'll come back to you. Clayton locked him. It was a card pull. Will I be anxiety free or will it end when I pass over? Well, yeah. So this is for Clayton. Yes, your anxiety will end when you pass over, right? But you have to understand your anxiety comes from loss. You have unresolved loss. That's where your anxiety is coming from. And you haven't really addressed the loss that you've had in your life. I get a mother energy too that connects in spirit for some reason. So I don't know if there's some sort of loss that you haven't really come to terms with. And so there's a lot of anxiety about being alone too, I feel, on this. So you want to make sure you're kind of finding ways to soothe yourselves about loss and also being by yourself. And being by yourself is a wonderful thing. I fight for being by myself. So, but find ways to make that okay for you. The anxiety is just because you're not living in your truth. So anxiety is not a syndrome. Okay, it's a result. It's a conditional response to unresolved, intellectual and emotional unresolved. That's what anxiety is. Anxiety is a result that you're not listening to yourself, your intuition, you're not expanding yourself. So it's not a syndrome. Everyone has to stop thinking that anxiety is some sort of a syndrome that you go through, or depression is a syndrome. It's a result. It's an intellectual result of discord or imbalance. And diving deep into what's creating it will give the solution. Depression will be gone. Anxiety will be gone. So in your case, you haven't dealt with loss and grief enough to where you've settled it in your life. And there's, I don't know why I keep hearing a constant fear of dying alone. And I'm afraid of dying alone. It's like, I mean, yeah, you may not want to die alone, but what are you doing to get yourself out of being alone and to opening yourself up to others? And, the lost energies kept you in captivity, kept you in a box in a sense. So again, this is for Clayton. So you want to make sure you're soothing yourself and understanding it's okay. You understand you've evolved from grief and loss in your life, and that it's quite all right for you to be okay with yourself and doing things that you can start connecting with others now instead of isolating yourself because you don't want to lose again. Okay? So that's the message there. Even though you paid for a card pull, but you gave a question and I gave you more than what you bargained for. Because I'm nice like that. And I'm, of course, being very playful, guys. A lot of you guys know me because I'm very cheeky that way. Again, this is for BL. Okay, listen up, BL, because I don't know how to address you in your read if I can't say your name, but BL. Will my ex move out of state? He has a male friend who I'm not sure about. He has sex with a woman who isn't friendly to me. They seem to gossip. Maybe moving out of state. It doesn't feel like it's very soon. It's possible. And so it might take some time for that, maybe a couple years or year or so. So yes, but not relatively soon. He has a male friend who I'm not sure. I would not associate with the male friend of his, honestly. I mean, I don't want to say there's gossip, BL, but stay away from that circle. Okay? Stay away from that circle. Two sweet cheeks. Oh, okay. I think you say I'm sweaty. Stay within a circle, and I feel like your husband at some point, maybe next couple of years, may relocate, but that's not certain. But not. I don't feel like there's so much that there's gossip going on, but there definitely isn't talk about you in a positive light, in a sense, if you were to come up. But it's not that they're constantly gossiping about you, no. And I would definitely stay away from the friend, too. I would keep yourself away from that circle. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's no bueno. No bueno. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense, Clayton, too. I'm assuming message well taken means that it resonated with you, that you understand where I was coming from on that. And I think you can change this now. You don't have to wait till you're dead to do this. You know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The male friend energy, no. I don't like the energy of the male friend. You know what I'm saying? Like they talk about things not favorably, but not so gossipy. So I just don't like the male friend energy at all. You know, it just, again, it's your environment, BL. Your environment is not. I don't know if you're around people who have similar beliefs, or you're around people who are just like have the same mindset. Your environment seems repetitive in the same crap, right? So you're repeating, you're stirring the same cauldron. Okay? And so these people are not, I would say, reliable. They're not true. They're not loyal people, okay? And so I just feel like that you're just around the same types of people. You got to get out of this environment, BL, is what I'm talking about. And so, you know, I mean, I think anyone in this group of people that you're talking about are going to be talking about each other. So that's just you're around everybody who's doing that right now. Your environment is like that, okay? We need to get you out of this environment and put yourself in a different environment to find different people. Okay, so, you know, the male friend, I'm not really, you know, it is, you know. Okay. Ali, and we have 2 more, and we are done. Finito. I didn't realize that you guys were all in the PayPal today. I just thought there was one notification. The notifications come in, so just for card pull for Ali. You know, the question, BL, those questions are just it doesn't matter. It's not relevant with your friend and the girl, right? It's irrelevant. The real issue is here that you're contemplating that. So if you're contemplating that, perhaps the circumstances are not right for you. That's my point. I'm saying this on this matter. So I don't really feel like diving into if someone had sex with someone else. I really don't want to get into that type of energy, to be honest with you. About 2 people I don't know having sex. I would say this: so you're not getting a bigger picture of the situation, and you're not in the environment of people that you should be around. That's my response to that. That includes the people in question that you're asking me about. They're not people that you're looking for. You're keeping yourself in environments that are just too, you know, the same mentality, the same people. Same people are not really that trustworthy. The same people are kind of little crazy. You know what I mean? So. So it's that you need to get yourself out of this environment. So the male friend is like, you know, acquaintance, fine. But like if you're going to dive into the male friend, I wouldn't really dive deeper into this or even speculate about, you know, whether or not they're having sex with somebody else. Like that's just too redundant. It's too nonsensical for you. Like you don't need to be, you should not be focusing on things of that nature. So trivial. It doesn't matter. If he's a friend of yours, a friend, doesn't matter what his sexual activities are. If he's a lover, I would say I don't like it as a trustworthy friend or a lover. Your environment is chaotic around people who are not really have good morals or values. I'll say this: there's not a lot of high morals and values around you in your environment of people. That I'll say it again: you need to find a different environment of people. And understand what you value, what's valuable to you the most. Okay, I was shuffling for Ali. I'm just hearing this, Ali, too. This message, it's just saying, take a step back and shine. I just heard this message. It's time for you to allow yourself to kind of glow right now, and this is emotional, right? Okay, it makes more sense. Yeah, this makes more sense because I was pulling cards and I was reading, still talking with BL, and I was getting cards that were associating to there. They're saying right now, it's kind of what I was saying with Sydney. Like, and have a moment of enjoyment right now, right? Allow yourself to go through this transformation as we're all going through, right? But just kind of like Three of Cups is all about like kind of celebrating and maybe connecting with two people that are close to you. I think the Three of Cups is also being significant about you and two other people, right? And not having to be so serious all the time. The Queen of Wands, if she's upright, she's very, stern and harsh and very analytical. And so upright to me is the reversed. You don't have to be so like hell-bent on certain things all the time. You can take a step back, and you can take a step back and look at things and say that it's okay to have good times. It's okay to allow yourself to shine. You know what I mean? And if you allow yourself to shine, then you can also, see the things around you that are leading you, because you should be in the spotlight. You should be kind of allowing yourself to be enjoyed by others, right? You should allow yourself to have this like small group of girlfriends, right? These are things they're saying to be digesting right now, and being open to a support group. They're saying not a support group like AA. But like a group of people that support you in your life. Like open yourself up to allowing that in, they're saying. And letting yourself shine and being kind of a center of focus. Center of attention. Allow this, they're saying. And because I feel like, maybe you've been too hard on yourself or overthinking things and, overthinking about how things go and, being very Virgo, because I'm Virgo rising, so I know. And they're saying maybe just take a step back from all that and just saying, I'm just going to enjoy these relationships, these connections that I have or making. So I think there's two close people around you that might get closer, or you might meet two friends or that become closer to you in a sense. So I think that's positive as well. So make it about you in that light, in that way, Same thing you, BL. It's got to be about you, BL. Okay? It's got to be about you. It can't be about what everybody else is thinking, BL. It can't be about how everyone else is feeling and what they're doing and all that stuff. It's got to be about you. It's got to be, you got to be the center of your world. You got to be center too, BL, of, how you expect to be treated and respected. And you shouldn't have to like chase people down or dig up people's, mindsets and stuff. It really is about allowing yourself to be the center too. Like we're saying to Ellie, to where, you understand people who respect you and you understand and knows what that looks like. And it's been a long time since you've had that, but we can all imagine that. We can all imagine things we haven't experienced or been a long time experience. You can imagine that. So, what I'm saying to you, BL, is finding an environment where you can do that. You need it. And so I just kind of want to go back to BL on that a little bit too. Last but certainly not least, Cassandra, I'm waiting for this. Queensland. Oh, you delayed, Janet? That was like minutes ago. But welcome aboard. Okay. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, so rent a couple for Cassandra Glowa. Cassandra. Yes, you got it, Allie. Like, I hate to say this or to push this, but like, get some pictures of yourself. Like, take some pictures of yourself, like selfies, or I would not tell this to any random person. I'm saying for you, because I think you feel like, maybe put on something nice, take a nice photograph of yourself, and, going out and doing things where you feel like, you feel, pretty, and make yourself glow. Like, do things where you feel like you can really shine, and getting out too. Friendships, so. I know Janet's ahead, but she was answering a question from like minutes ago. Okay. Frankie Mac, hope my wait. When did you send it in? I'll have to go back and look back. I think I did the card pull for Frankie though, did I? I think I did. Nina, you in the room? I don't know if you remember. Okay, this is for okay. Interesting. This is really good energy. I feel like you have a creative endeavor that you want to share with the world in a sense. So this is kind of literal to me. I feel like there's a creative expression that I feel like that needs to be put to the world. I'm going to say it again because I'm like, how can I say this again? And I feel like there's like a change in this regard. So whether this is a creative endeavor or a endeavor that you've been creative about, and somehow it's able to connect with the world somehow, and I feel like somebody else comes in to help you on this, or someone gets to invest in you somehow too, with your work and your whatever your creative endeavor is. And I got the Fool card, so I'll just show you Princess of Wands. She's a creative diva. The World card, right? Knight of Pentacles. And then the Fool card. So so to me, when I read that in my interpretation, I'm like, oh, you're creative. It's a creative endeavor, taking that to the world, but kind of like expanding that to the world in a sense and bring it to people's attention and awareness, and expanding that aspect, right? And so, and then the Knight of Pentacles to me, someone who's going to come and kind of assist you, like a mentor, someone who can help to invest in you somehow, and then starts a new beginning. Okay? So I like that for you. And I think that, there's more to this, of course, but for the simplicity of a card pull. And again, I mean, even the cards that keep coming out for you too, like the Six of Wands, all about like a thrust forward. Something will be thrusting you forward too with this endeavor as well. Okay? And then, of course, the Strength card. So you're a very loyal person, clearly. I don't know if that means that you're Leo or just loyal and they just want to point at the loyalty. So I think that there's a lot of that coming around with your relationships too and your dynamics as well. So, and maybe you've been loyal to your craft or what this endeavor that you want to do. Or if you're not aware of it yet, then you will have one inspired to you. Okay? But it feels creative to me. Or just creatively how you do that. Okay, let me just check on this last one that could come in the nick of time. I don't see... What is the name? Is it under Frankie? What is the name under? Is it under Melissa? Because I know you guys have different names of what you do, so I need to... What's the name under it for? It must be Melissa, because I don't remember doing a Melissa. Yeah, but it's got to be creative. It's a creative endeavor that needs to be taken to the world. So like whether it's a creative art or just something like even creative could be spiritual too, some of that nature that needs to be, maybe you put yourself on a platform to take it to the world in a sense, So, okay, last but not least, as we're going over time here, is Melissa Rincon. I hope I said that right. We'll just say Melissa. Actually, maybe I don't need to say the last names. I won't be saying the last names. We'll just say Melissa. Let me see. I wish there was a question instead. And we'll be done. Shuffle these babies. We're waiting. Need to change the name to Frankie. Oh. So am I reading Melissa or am I reading Frankie? Who am I reading for? Melissa or the Frankie? Or what is the actual name? Because I don't... If you're Frankie and Melissa's another person, I'll be pulling for Melissa. Or unless you are Melissa, so are you the same person, the same name, same person? Because whoever Melissa is, I might just end up reading for her. Actually, I will read for this person, that energy. Gotcha. Okay, see? That's important to understand because I was about to read for Melissa. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. They're telling you in primary relationship, you might be making things too complicated. In your either it's a romantic relationship or just maybe just generally speaking. But if you're in a relationship now, then it's a relationship now. If it's just in general, it's in general. But they're just saying that somehow you're overcomplicating things, which is making it difficult in your relationship or romantic relationships, generally speaking. If it's that way, and I don't think that you are that person. Because I feel like that you are, could be a very charming person and very easygoing, but somehow there's a side of you that overcomplicates things that brings, unnecessary, I would say heaviness in your relationships. You might want to be mindful of that and make sure you're not doing this or overthinking. And it might be overthinking to the fact that you might, keep yourself reserved, and that's kind of somehow flipping things upside down the way they shouldn't need to be. So they just want you to understand how you can start being more, I would say, easy on yourself in that sense in your relationships. And the Four of Wands in reverse. Is that? I don't know if you're trying to move, but there's like a struggle of trying to move, or you're not certain about moving, because then I feel like there might be a move too. So you might be in a position you're not certain of moving, or you're not aware about moving, and maybe things are not working out in your current location that need to be changed. That might come to you later on this year about making a move. But I feel like maybe now is not the time. If you're considering it or you're not considering it, then you'll know later this year. I feel like that would be changed in that regard too. And so the main simple message is getting out of your head so you can preserve your relationship, so you're not being misread, or you're not actually giving off an impression that's not yours. Because I feel like you might be giving off an impression in your relationship that is not really who you are, and it might be making things difficult. And if it's not in the current relationship, it's a generally speaking, to help you get out of that modality. And again, this whether or not you're moving or not, I feel like now is not the time, but you'll know next year. And if you're not planning on it now, you'll be planning on it like next year. I feel like the move will happen, though. It will happen. So the indecisive energy means it's just not right now. Okay, and the emotional stuff too, Mr. Frankie. Remember that, okay? Yeah, you will. It's just not the right time. You got to find the right location. And I think that you have to settle things within your relationship first. Not that it's like heavy, but like you settle things about like how you're feeling and, what you're really feeling like and where you really want to go. Like just being more transparent and not holding back to where you're over analyzing things and then you hold back. Just get it on the table. So not just so heavy in a sense, the message, but just kind of allowing yourself to be a little more transparent about things and more honest about it. And it actually might be regarding the move, that's why it came together. It might just be more honest about the move and about what you're wanting too. It might just be in that nature and they'll overcomplicate it. It could be just even tied to that too. But yeah, you guys will, and you'll know by the end of this year. And you might be planning it for the next year, or that will remain to be seen. All right, but it feels like a good move. It feels like a necessary one to me. So kudos to that. Okay, well, that concludes the reading part of the section. That also concludes tonight's live. I know you guys are feeling heavy. I know there's been a lot of, uncertainty, but one thing is certain, that you can dictate how you feel about it. One thing is certain is that you can also, cleanse your palate, of what you're digesting. One thing is for sure is that you don't have to consume the things that you don't want to consume. That's for sure. One thing is for sure is that you have control over your mind. That's for sure. And so what you want to make certain too is that you're not allowing any other aspect to dictate and rule your mind. You're not letting any other things creeping in your headspace that can potentially deter your point of view. No. So now's the time to really kind of, I would say, hibernate in a sense too, because we're still in Cancer season. It's been kind of intense. Maybe take a little bit of a hibernation. It's a good time to hibernate right now. Because when Leo season comes up, and I'll do a theme about Leo season, when we get in there, we'll take a step up. There'll be a lot more pride coming out. Like I said before, if you're not in a good state, your pride is going to get the best of you in Leo season in a negative way. But if you're doing what's best for you now in a Cancer season, and when Leo season comes up, your pride will work in your favor. You'll be confident. Things will be working for you. Okay? Let's take care of this energy now. Let's preserve the mind. Let's preserve our energy space. Let's do all that now. Okay? Because as we get into Leo season, you want to make sure the pride that you have is working in your favor, not going to backfire. Okay? I love that. Go within. Go to the gym. Well, that's kind of without too, right? Anyways, I appreciate every single one of you guys for being here. And as you know, I'll be here every Thursday, as well as every Monday for Leading Out Loud. Of course, I broadcast it here, but it's also on the Leading Out Loud channel too. And if you want to book a personal one-on-one session, I think my July's I probably have 3 or 4 days left in July, but I did open up August to start August bookings too. I'll get them in, scottcruzpm.com. The link is in the description there for one-on-one life readings, both phone and Zoom sessions, mediumship sessions if you want to tap into someone who's crossed over, as well as Intuition Builder if you want to tap into your own psychic abilities and mediumship abilities. I will help you to do so with that as well. And either way, we'll see you every Thursday, okay? And guys, take care of yourselves, really. Preserve your mindset. Shut the TV off. And if you're waking up and you're reaching toward your phone or your iPad, like maybe, and I have a tendency, I do that, because I'm like focused on clients. I'm looking at emails. And sometimes I've been lately saying to myself, let me just like reach for my dog or reach for a blanket and just like not pick it up so quickly. We have to get out of those habits, So I appreciate everything. I want you guys preserve yourselves, and we'll talk to you and see you all next week. As you all know, that you're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love, everybody. Good night.
He said it was like a Devin or David.
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You said like something in your end table that you this too.
My God, we're crazy.
Yeah, he's saying hi, baby girl. He's saying hi, baby girl. And is there significance with like image of a rose at all?
He would
Does that
always
make
give me a rose.
Okay, so he's like doing one now. He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine. Somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some magnawave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
So he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here?
There's a reason why we're on this timeline. There's a reason why we've chosen to be in this awakening. I say we're going through a spiritual awakening.
So I don't just come out here and talk bull and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In harmony with